Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Tuesday, November 22nd. So today we have a huge shift taking place because, of course, we are wrapping up Scorpio season with the moon in Scorpio, and we are ushering into Sagittarius season. If you haven't listened to the astro forecast that I put out for what we can expect with this Sag energy, I'm going to recommend you do that. And as we move through the 13 different aspects here today, with 12 of them involving the moon in Scorpio, we are also going to be entering into the new moon window. Yes, that's right. We have the new moon taking place here very early in the Sagittarius season. We will be seeing that peak energy go direct here late Wednesday afternoon. And what we also have going on around that same time, just moments before that new moon, is Jupiter going direct. So this will be the very last full day of Jupiter being retrograde in that Piscean energy. Keep in mind, Jupiter rules over Sagittarius season. Therefore, the minute that the sun moves into Sag, we have a lot more intensity, a lot more focus on Jupiter's energy, which is pushing us to grow. And under this Scorpio season that we just went through, it's all about change, all about transformation, all about new soul contracts. We are definitely going to be feeling the depths of these changes as we move throughout all of the aspects taking place here today. So the moon in Scorpio, we are deep, we are intense, we are feeling the extremes, we are looking for a deeper truth, we are looking to peel back the layers in order to actually see some of the situations we've gone through from a different set of eyes. We're looking to kind of unearth a new set of truth, a new motive, if you will, for why some of these spiritual tests, spiritual lessons have happened. And yeah, having that double Scorpio energy for the first little bit of the day here today is definitely going to feel a little bit raw, a little bit vulnerable. We might be even a little bit paranoid. We might even be just a little bit of a recluse until, of course, we dip out of this double water energy and we get a little bit of fire from Sag energy in order to dry us off. So, with that being said, we do have the moon in Scorpio making a very awkward interaction with Mars, its co-ruler, who is retrograde in Gemini energy. This particular situation is definitely going to help us focus on the choices that we have, the decisions that we have to make, the paths, the directions that we have in front of us right now. And of course, Mars, wanting to take action, wanting to aggress himself out in the world, can't. He's retrograde. This is an internalized journey here, an internalized journey of the pros and cons, the debate that we have to have in order to figure out what is the right path, what is the right choice, what is the right direction for us. Now, granted, our inner narrative might be a little bit dark, might be a little bit negative. Mars being agitated and frustrated, a little bit rageful that we can't move as fast as we would like. And of course, the moon in Scorpio doing a little bit of a deep dive into the shadow realm is definitely going to exaggerate those not so nice thoughts, those not so nice feelings. Now, the moon is going to make an awkward interaction with both Venus and Mercury, who, as you know, is both in the Sagittarius energy. They met up yesterday. They conjuncted. They sat next to each other. They had a good chat. They hashed some things out. They tried to keep things light and fluffy. They tried to analyze our thoughts, our feelings. They tried to put ourselves out there in a friendly, maybe even a flirty way. We were looking to negotiate. We were looking to compromise, especially trying to heal some of the not so nice parts of the relationship dynamics that many of us have definitely become overly aware of that haven't been working. Now, whatever relationship dynamics kind of fell apart for you or was a little bit bumpy, so to speak, we have the potential right now to focus on the positives, to pluck out the silver linings, and to really do what needs to be done in order to mend those particular fences. The moon interacting with Venus and Mercury, though, in such a way that isn't the most pleasant way, is going to add a little bit of an intensity, a little bit of a skewed perception on what it is that actually means something to us. Now, Venus, of course, being about love and money, relationships, value, worth. She is in Sag energy, trying to look at the big picture, while the moon in Scorpio is trying to dig deep, recognize the details, recognize how it is that we got here. Instead of being so focused on the future that the Sag energy wants us to be focused on, we're still trying to piece together how it is that we got here, what it is that we've had to learn in order to get here. And we might have an outside trigger, an outside activation coming at us with either new information or a person of worth, of value coming at us with their truth, with their ideas, with their opinions that may not sit so well with us because we're deep, we're probing, we're asking the deep-seated questions. We want the answers. And this might put us a little bit, I'm going to say, in an awkward situation because the fire energy of Sag wants to be so future focused. But as far as we're concerned, still in the Scorpio energy, we have a lot of the past that we have to make sense of before we can jump into working our way towards the future. Now, the moon is going to go ahead, make an interesting aspect with Neptune. This is some water on water action. And this is definitely putting us in a very interesting situation to align with our higher self, to grasp a vision and a dream from our higher self, from our intuition, on the depths of our thoughts, of our emotions, of our fears, and of our desires. Now, this could make us feel pretty wish-washy. This could also make us feel overly intense, overly exaggerated, if you will, with some of the thoughts and feelings and emotions that are coming up for us. The Neptune energy in particular is very hypersensitive to the energies of the subtle universe and people's energies around us, but can also be so overwhelming for us that we just want to check out. We just want to disassociate. And you know what? We can feel very extreme at this point because, of course, the sun is at its final degree, that 29th degree of Scorpio, ready to wrap up that particular life lesson. And this is where we're going with it next. At 3:21 a.m., again, Eastern Standard Time, we have the sun moving out of Scorpio energy and moving into Sagittarius. So this is fire. We haven't had a lot of fire lately. This fire is going to dry us off from the water that we've been sitting in. It's going to help us burn some cords that we need to burn with the past and really kind of position us to be a little bit more optimistic about the possibilities of our future. Again, take a listen to the astro forecast, check out November's energy forecast on what this is going to mean for us for this next month. But just understand that we always need a little bit of time to acclimatize to these energy shifts. And the fire energy is going to feel good, but it's going to feel like not only do we kind of hit the gas a little bit hard, but we also hit that nitro button and we're kind of jumping into things a little bit too fast, a little bit too extreme. There is going to be a lot of energy management needed throughout Sagittarius season, but it is going to feel damn good to get out of this cold ass, dark ass water, get dried off, and actually focus a little bit on what is to come instead of what has already been. So the moon goes ahead, bumps into Chiron in such a way where we're now kind of exposed a little bit, where we're seeing the hesitation to move forward. Again, Scorpio energy that the moon is still in is a fixed sign. We have a hard time making changes, a hard time letting go, a hard time kind of releasing the focus, the intent, the extreme, I'm going to say, obsessive thoughts and thinking that we have had to sit in through Scorpio season. It's a hard thing just to snap your fingers and let go of. So even though the sun just kind of moved into this fire energy, the moon is still very much in the water Scorpio energy, and bumping into Chiron, the wounded healer, is definitely going to trigger and activate some not so nice thoughts, some not so nice feelings. Instead of us focusing on where it is that we want to kind of grow from here, we're going to be a little bit stuck up and fixated on where it is that we feel blocked from moving forward. This too shall pass. The moon goes ahead, opposes, sits next to the true node. Now, I slow it down here because this is a complex thing. First of all, the moon in Scorpio sitting across from the north node would be in Taurus. The south node would be sitting beside the moon in Scorpio energy. We've been talking about the north and south nodes of the moon because, of course, we are on the Taurus and Scorpio axis. That's why we've had eclipse season in the Taurus and Scorpio energy. And we are just about to shut the door on this eclipse energy with the new moon taking place in Sagittarius energy, but we're not quite there yet. So the moon in Scorpio sitting next to the south node in Scorpio is where we're having some hesitancy, some insecurity, some fears, some doubts on letting go, on moving on releasing, surrendering to whatever it is that we know we've outgrown and what it is that we have to move away from. The moon sitting across from, conflicting with the north node in Taurus, is putting more of an intense, more of an extreme skew and perspective on what it is that we know that we're supposed to be moving towards, but we have a hesitancy, a block, a restriction from actually diving into the new path, the new direction. Again, this is going to be an extreme kind of flutter where we are semi-excited to move on, but yet with that excitement comes a lot of fear, a lot of doubt, because change, even if it's a good change, is scary as hell. And we're going to be sitting in that for just a little bit. Now, the moon goes ahead and makes a very interesting interaction with Jupiter, who, as you know, is still retrograde in Pisces energy. So we got some water on water action here as well. Jupiter will be going direct here just moments before the new moon in Sag here on Wednesday. But right now, we're still in a retrograde, which means that this is an internalized thought. It's an internalized motion. It's an internalized aspect. And what we're kind of seeing here, again, playing off the earlier aspects I just mentioned, is our hesitancy to grow, our resistance to change, our, I'm going to say, stuckness in our funk, and where it is that we feel an overwhelming desire to just hold on for dear life instead of making the changes that many of us have already committed to. It's not going to last long. We get some help here, because the moon goes ahead, makes a very positive interaction with Pluto, its ruler, right? Pluto rules over the Scorpio energy. Now, Pluto technically just got dethroned because he no longer rules over Scorpio season because we're in Sag season. Jupiter rules over this energy now, but Pluto still rules over the moon, our emotions, our intuition, our unconscious self. Now, this is a positive interaction, which means that the great transformer that this Plutonian energy is pushing us into our power, pushing us into our change, pushing us into our transformation. We just had our final act, final chapter, final page in the book of our death and rebirth story. That's what Scorpio season was all about. We essentially had our breakdown in Scorpio energy. Sag energy is our breakthrough. And the moon, being in Scorpio energy, interacting with Pluto in this way, is kind of breaking us from that hold, from that fear, from those doubts, from those insecurities that we just recognized that we had for making these changes, for making this transformation, for having to grow, for having to expand, for having to move on. Now we're trying to boss out. We're putting our big girl panties on, if you will, and we are trying to prepare for basically having to move on in life. Yes, there was some hesitancy earlier in the day. We're trying to acclimatize to this new energy, so that's only fair that we kind of found ourselves in a funk. Now we're overcoming it. Now we're bossing up. The moon goes ahead, has a positive interaction this time with Mars, its co-ruler. This is inspiring us, motivating us to, again, put our warrior suit on and to get ready to take charge and make moves in the direction that we know now that we have to take. And that's not a bad thing. Mars, again, retrograde, means that our physical energy is kind of blocked, a little bit stunted. We are in the realm of the intellect, being in retrograde in this Gemini energy. And in the intellect, we are bossing up. We are getting motivated. We are putting the tunnel vision on. We are drawing our sword, so to speak, because we are done with the fear. We're done with the pain. We're done with the trauma. We're done with the suffering. We know that we are on the precipice of a great change. We are done with the breakdown. We want to rise up in this breakthrough story. And Mars is inspiring us and motivating us to do just that. The moon is going to oppose and sit across from Uranus, who is retrograde in Taurus energy. Now, Uranus being retrograde in Taurus for these last couple of months have shown us a couple of things. First of all, it's an internalized journey for us to recognize the attachments that we have to this physical realm, this physical world, our physical environment, physical relationships, physical titles, jobs, possessions, whatever the case may be. Taurus energy, earth energy, very connected to the here and now. Uranus is the great awakener. He's the revolutionary energy, pushing us into innovation and progress in our life, wants us to be independent, wants us to break free of some of these constructs that we very much have identified over the last couple of months that we are scared shitless in order to let go of. Now, the moon in Scorpio sitting across from Uranus, the great awakener. This is a shake up. This is a wake up. This is I'm going to say the game of chicken. You know, the game of chicken where, you're either running at each other or driving towards each other in a straight line to see who's going to swerve and pull away first in order to save a huge accident, a huge collision from happening. Well, this is kind of like playing chicken. The moon in Scorpio is damn well and determined that we are, we're preparing to change. We're preparing to transform. Yes, we sat in our funk and our sadness and our fear earlier in the day, but now we're inspired. We have our warrior mentality on. We've shifted our perspective on what it is that we have to kind of fight from here. And this Uranian energy is kind of playing chicken because we're at the opposite end of the field here with Uranus. And Uranus really wants to stand his ground in this Taurus energy and be fixed in what it is that we're holding on to, what it is that we're attached to. And the Scorpio energy is all about death and destruction, and whatever is left standing for you that you're holding on desperately to, that is blocking you from moving on to your higher mission, your higher purpose, your higher self, will become illuminated in a very abrupt and shocking way. With this particular energy, especially now that we're in Sag season, this is about a takeoff. This is a breakthrough. This is like big opportunities, silver linings, a big shift in direction, in attitude. And right now there's some hesitancy there, but we're about to sort out what that hesitancy is all about and where it is that we are consciously holding on for dear life to some of the things that we know damn well that we've outgrown and that we have to let go of. Now, the moon goes ahead, makes a positive aspect with Chiron, the wounded healer. Now, earlier in the day, we had a not so nice interaction here where it brought up the fears, the doubts, the insecurities, where it is that we didn't want to move forward, where it is that we were fearful from actually making the change and transformation that we know that we have to make. This particular energy, because it's a positive one, is showing us the amount of growth that we've been able to actually do, the amount of learning that we've been actually able to have, the amount of progress that we've actually have under our belts through Scorpio season. And this is like an aha moment on what it is, the power within us that we have to heal, that we have to change, that we have to transform. We just have to align with it. So if you're constantly at yourself about, well, what if I change and this happens, or what if this, or what if that, or the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, you are essentially being the block to your higher self, to a new level of blessings, to a new level of abundance. When you align with the truth of the fact that you have the power to heal anything that you put your time, your energy, and your attention to, especially bringing from the unconscious self into the conscious awareness, you are able to overcome a great deal. And you should have realized that by now through all the shit that we've been going through since the whole Great Awakening that took off in 2020, and even more recent than that, the eclipse season that we just went through. Lastly, we have the moon squaring off, entering into the boxing ring with Saturn, Mr. Karma, who rules over foundations, systems, structures, roles, and responsibilities. I'm going to be honest, this don't feel good. This won't feel good, shouldn't feel good. This is going to highlight for us where it is that we got to get to work. There's no good point sitting around talking about it, sitting around feeling our way through. There is a certain point of action that we have to take in order to actually initiate building new boundaries, building new routines, new systems, new structures, new foundations, new roles, new responsibilities, new commitments, new obligations in our lives that A, will not only set us free from the ones that we've outgrown, that we know we have to cut the cord with, but B, set us up to actually align with this new mission, this new path, this new direction, this new purpose.